Hello and welcome to the podcast. Every moment is sacred, where we interweave meditation and healing into everyday life. I am your host, Rain Elizabeth Stickney. Now, let us begin. Hey, it's so wonderful to have you here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing your spirit here into the world. We get to have a transformational healing conversation with Charla Grace Olson. She is a powerful woman, a loving mother, and a person who knows change personally. She knows and loves the transformation of positive change so much that Charla wants to help women go through their own changes. And she has created a new podcast, a brand new podcast just launched this week. From Her to Her. Here we get to learn a bit more about Charla, and she takes us on her healing journey of transformation and what that means to her faith, to her relationship with God. She explores courage and conviction, as well as discipline, consistency, and landing beautifully in the importance of self-love. One of my favorite things that Charla shares is transformation is beautiful. Indeed, it is. Transformation is beautiful, and she shows us beautifully. Before we dive in, I would like to say that some of the qualities present in this healing conversation are the same qualities that are present when you work with me privately, when any person chooses to jump in and have a healing session through my business. Sometimes this is called consciousness counseling or spiritual counseling. It's under the umbrella of dragonfly guidance. Dragonflies are a beautiful symbol of change and transformation. One day long ago, during the very beginning of the pandemic, it was still spring of 2020, my son and partner and I were dining by a redwood creek because we could get some takeout food and eat in the redwood forest by a creek that went through our town, and it was a nice change from being cooped up in our apartment. My partner noticed these dragonfly carcasses or shells or exoskeletons or something mysterious and mystical, and we actually got to see that those dragonfly holdings were actually dragonflies being born from when they were just a little nymph. And I ended up researching this. And so what is exciting about the dragonfly transformation is that unlike a butterfly that begins as an egg into a caterpillar, into a chrysalis, and inside that chrysalis, the butterfly actually melts and dissolves and becomes a new form. The dragonfly is different. The dragonfly becomes an egg and a larva, and eventually a nymph, which allows the dragonfly being to crawl out of the water and then up to a nearby reed or grass, or in this case, a redwood tree. And then that nymph, which is like a bug without wings. It rests on a vertical angle and goes through its transformation, except that its body never dissolves. Its body stays whole. And when it comes out of its dragonfly like chrysalis, it has wings. But the only thing that changed was that the dragonfly being grew something new, which is a very unique transformation. This is all to say that I have some spots open for healing sessions with me privately. And if you go to my website, rainelizabeth.org, and right there on the home page, there's a button that says schedule. Click that. You'll find a list of services, and one of them is a free 20-minute consultation. You can meet with me just to say hello, just to see what it's like, have a Zoom call, and we get to know each other that way. If you are ready to dive in and have a private healing session, you can do that right away. Or if you are a past client or someone I know already, just go ahead, schedule. If for any reason or non-reason you would like to meet with me for free for 20 minutes, go ahead and do it. I welcome you to. I would love to say hello. I would love to meet you. I would like to know more about what you're going through. I really care. Now, let's find ourselves opening and unfolding with Charla Grace Olson.
Yay! I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is good.
My pleasure. So to begin with, what is something you're grateful for?
What am I grateful for? There are actually so many things. I would say first, God, absolutely. God, his guidance and conviction and courage.
Mm-hmm.
Not one thing, but I think it's one thing if it's all encompassing.
Yeah, God, conviction, and courage. They definitely all go together.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
do you mean by conviction? I have a personal relationship with that word. When I was a teenager, I really loved the word conviction. And my mom had a different version from me. So I'm just aware that people can have different ideas of what conviction is.
Yes. For me, it's conviction is instruction. It's a knowing, and it's a knowing of this is the way to go. And if you don't, there could be problems ahead. And it's also not conviction like this is your direction and it's going to be all okay. It's this is the best direction for your life. And you are not alone on this path. It's a call to heed obedience, really, for me, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that part about not being alone.
Yes. Yeah. That's what makes the heeding it a little bit easier. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you've walked this before me. I'm going to trust this. I'll do it. I'll do it. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Haven't always been great at it in life, but yeah, currently very grateful for that.
Well, I am very grateful for you. I'm so grateful that you have the courage to be here today. I'm grateful for the technology that allows us to have a conversation.
Me too.
And I'm grateful for healing. I feel a lot of healing present with us, and I love to have healing conversations. And sometimes I don't know where that will lead us. So here we are. We just get to have a healing moment together.
Yes, and I'm grateful for the space. Feel it too. It's like deep down inside, there's that peace. There's a peace. There's no storm happening. It's just peace. So that's good.
I feel that. So, where is your life path taking you these days? What is happening for you?
I am currently in transition, moving from, I'm in North Dakota, so I go back and forth between two towns. And I'm currently working on moving away from one back to what is my hometown, making some changes in personal relationships. So cutting ties with the man I've been with for a few years, and then stepping into a life on my own and closer with my children, and in a community where I've got friends and family. So although difficult, I am looking forward to it. When I imagine it, it's such a peaceful, growing atmosphere. So
Hmm.
it's an inspired future, is how it feels.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What
And I'm
kind of
hoping,
Mhm.
what I'm hoping to do is, I currently work, like my line of work is title insurance, which I always joke with my coworkers. It's like nobody, when they're little, decides, I want to be a title officer and do title insurance. Nobody, it's not like a dream job. We're all a little bit crazy to be doing this. And it's been a great position, and it's a great company that I work for. But I do hope eventually to be specifically working with other human beings.
Mhm.
And so my goal and what I can see for my future is, this is going to be the jumping board into that
Mhm.
future, and getting that going. So
Mhm.
yeah.
What would you like to do with other human beings?
It's kind of along the lines of the podcast From Her to Her. It's working with individuals who are going through that transformation process, providing resources for them, and also being somebody that can walk alongside and instill certain behaviors that become habits. It's the old idea of, if you keep doing the same thing expecting different results, it's
Mm.
insanity. So working with people, I have an understanding of how to transition. I've done it before, and doing it again, I'm having getting an opportunity to check myself and go back to those things. And but I would love to work with people that are going through those transformational phases.
Mhm.
It's not easy. And I think the other thing, what I've noticed to going through those things, and where I would really love to stand by people going through that, is a lot of times when we're transforming, we realize our friends and our family that will all of a sudden not be comfortable, because we're no longer an asset to them for how they can use us anymore, or what the benefit that we are to their life. And so to be able to be alongside people, and prepare them for that, I think would be really beneficial.
Mhm.
Because I think we're unaware that even the people that love us the most are going to feel challenged when we're transforming, and they might even want to decide that this isn't working for them anymore. So transformation is beautiful, and we can picture the beauty of it, but there's a lot of things in between the decision and the transformation that take place. So to help walk alongside and prepare people and help instill
Mhm.
behaviors and habits, and I just think I would love to do that.
Yeah, what beautiful work. Transformation is so important.
Mm.
And I hear you talking about shifting circles, as though when one person transforms, there can be a shift in the relationships around them just naturally. Is that what you're describing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm going through.
Mm.
And I think it's natural because really transformation, whether it's a plot twist from life or a decided, I need to be better than that. I know I deserve more. I know I'm better than this, or I know there's more for me, or I know my purpose is better. Whether it's life or decision, I think it's natural, when you're going after the trueness of who you are, for the people that fell in love with the false part of you to
Mm.
fall off. And then you come into who you actually are. And all of those people are waiting to, with like open arms, to welcome you in. Like,
Mhm.
we knew we were missing somebody. Welcome to the party. Like, that kind of, or welcome arms. Like, we're so happy to have you. It's just such a different such a different vibe.
Yeah.
I know that word gets used all the time, but it's an energy, it's a vibe, it's a welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an allowance too. There's an allowance when you meet your people for you to continue being yourself. And I think that boundaries are understood, and it's just yeah. So I think I know that that's what I'm going through at this point. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I'm wondering if you also find that sometimes the transformation is an invitation for others to transform too. That maybe some people get a little uncomfortable, but then they find a way to also become their better selves.
Yeah. The inspiration, it's being able to demonstrate courage, and all of a sudden it can become contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And inspiring.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps for your children too. I don't know. How are they doing in this transition?
They're doing really well. They've gone through a couple transitions with me in life. What I've always tried to do with my kids is remember they are human beings, they're not babies. And they actually understand a lot more than what we give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
I've just always understood I just need to talk to them on their level. All details aren't necessary. They're going through it too, whether it's just feeling what I'm going through, or whether it's moving because I need to move, or whether it's I'm not going to be there for a certain amount of time because I have to go take care of my, they're going through these things too.
Mm-hmm.
And to just leave them to just figure it out when, I mean, that's what they're already doing in life, just being kids. For me to add another layer of what is this? I've just always tried to explain things through to them on a level they'll understand. And that's what I still continue to do. And I'm really blessed with two really amazing kids that are just naturally God given, like really great kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're doing well. I know that there will be questions, and as we continue moving forward, I'm sure they'll have some hard questions, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll get them answered.
Mm-hmm. I feel confidence from you and I hear wisdom.
Oh, thank you.
And I feel so much respect too. I'm witnessing how much you respect your children.
I do. Oh, that made me shiver. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I look at them like I am meant to steward them well. They're not even mine. They can be taken at any point. They were put here through me, but they aren't even actually mine. I'm meant to steward them well and treat them well. And someday if I'm gone before them, I hope I've done a good job. And if they leave before me, then I hope I can be certain that I did a good job. And yeah, I do respect them.
Yeah. How loving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that you're a person of faith. So, how do you feel about talking about faith and your relationship with God and what the ins and outs of that are for you?
We can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, great. Is there a
I
particular tradition or church that you're involved in?
I started out Lutheran and
Mm-hmm.
then grew up in Church of Christ. And then once I graduated and left high school, I still kind of attended Church of Christ. I moved to South Texas, thought I'd get as far away from North Dakota as I possibly could. And here I am back. But I still attended like Church of Christ. And then once I moved back up to North Dakota, my daughter was by the time she was about 4, I just wasn't attending anymore. And I was probably about 24, 25 at the time. Well, no, probably about 26. Anyway, so from about that age till I was probably about 37, 38, my life, my relationship with God was pretty much MIA. I still knew he was there and it was still, but I wasn't attending and I wasn't trying to have a relationship with him. And then in 2018, I experienced some pretty rough patches, actually from like 2015 to 2018. And I ended up going away and went to a rehab facility just to get away from a situation that I was in. And I chose to be gone, to stay away from the situation for about 3 months. And that is where I got my relationship back. And it was definitely different. It was no longer religion anymore. It wasn't rules. It wasn't, you have to do this, you can't do this. It was a
Mm-hmm.
relationship at that point. And it was finally having conversations with him, and honest ones, and to the point where it's like, I'm seriously trying to manipulate you right now when I'm talking. I just want my way. Like, like having like real honest conversations. Like, I'm tired of praying. I just give me my way finally. And hearing things like, I'm not a genie in the bottle for you. Like, it's like, okay, fine. And then hearing his instruction and hearing, it was like, yes, there is a part of faith and relationship with him that has to understand there's a judge and jury someday, but the love of him, I finally felt. I wasn't scared anymore. Like, I felt love from him and guidance. And 2020 was difficult. I really couldn't understand how our churches and gyms got closed, but liquor stores could stay open. I was just like, how is this possible? I don't get this. And so 2020 was a bit difficult. I did struggle through 2020 and then into 21, just trying to get that back. And now, especially in the last 3-4 months and trying to figure out relationship and everything, I've
Mm-hmm.
really been clinging back to him again. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kicking myself for having kind of stepped back a little bit. I was still in communication with him, but wasn't attending, and fellowship is so important to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so now the church that I attend now it's called Life Church here in Williston, and it's an Assembly of God. Um, their focus really is like sharing who Jesus is, what he did,
Mm-hmm.
and the Holy Spirit and the Trinity. And so I'm happy to be involved there again. And even in the midst of chaos, understanding that peace on, like, understanding, having peace with everything going on around. It's just, I know where that's from. There's only one way that can happen for me inside. So, and he's guiding me. I
Mm-hmm.
can't deny that. That's where that instruction that I have to heed comes from.
I get from you that it's a real living relationship with God, that you're living a relationship with Him and you're willing to speak honestly, you're willing to listen, you're willing to heed in relationship with God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's to the point where it's like, I don't want to make a decision without him. I truly believe he cares about every little aspect of us. I really do. I think he really cares about helping us make decisions for our health, decisions for our friends, decisions, like, should I call this person? I truly believe he wants to be involved in all of those things because he knows what happens after those decisions anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He wants to be a part of those. He wants to keep us, he wants good things for us, and he wants to keep us from harm. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah,
Mm.
I talk to him a lot.
I feel the sacred present.
I love it.
So, for those moments that a person, any person, might be going through a period of time not connected to the sacred or God or whatever their word for that divine presence is. You mentioned sometimes in your life when there was a rupture in your relationship with God or religion or whatever was true for you at that time. So, what is it like for you when there's not that supportive bond that's living through you consciously?
What is it like when that's not around?
Yeah, when there's just a period where it's different. And the prayers aren't happening or something's just not aligned like it can be.
Right. For me, my experience, there's an emptiness. There is an emptiness. And in those moments, I find myself filling that emptiness with, other things, whether it's a relationship or at times in life, it's been alcohol or social media, trying to numb
Mhm.
pain through just scrolling. You don't even know what you're looking at. You're just avoiding the emptiness. For me, it's an emptiness, and it's a chaos causer because it's almost like a never quite present, because I can't ever focus on like one thing. It's just chaotic kind of feeling and empty.
Mhm.
And so when it's in line,
Mhm.
it's peace is the only way I could explain it. But yeah,
Mhm.
without it, it's empty. Are there still happy moments in life? Yeah, but it's not a soulful happy. It's a human happy, where like happy experiences, you giggle, you laugh, like haha,
Mhm.
but then come back to there's still this emptiness.
Mhm. And what is a way or a reminder that you get yourself from that emptiness back to the peace?
For me, it is intentionally setting aside time every day to spend time praying, reading my Bible, journaling, and gratitude. Gratitudes are huge too, like thanking him, or even just writing down I write down 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening. I just get myself back in a pattern of, it's a mindset really. It's a decision to be in relationship with him, and setting aside that time. It's like setting aside time for shower. It's setting aside time
Mhm.
for, going to work. It's like,
Mhm.
it's important. And he always wants to show up, but he's not just gonna, oh, hey, here I am. Like, you need some, we have to be, relationships take two. So for me, I set aside time to show up for him, and it allows space for him to come through to me and talk with me.
Mhm.
And so and I start my day like that. It has to be like that.
Mhm.
Otherwise, and I find myself talking to him all throughout the day. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
so that's how I get it back. I know that
Mhm.
he is always there. I'm typically the problem. I'm usually the one that stepped away. So it's like,
Yeah.
he's always there waiting. Charlie,
Uh-huh.
you're the one that's like, I'll talk to you in a bit. I really want to do this thing. I know I shouldn't just. Mm. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely setting aside. And that takes boundaries too. That takes the people in your life understanding she's shifting, she's changing. And if they're uncomfortable with that, talk through that with them. I
Mm.
understand it might make you uncomfortable, but this is really about this, and it's a priority to me.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's how I do it.
I love that you know how you do it, that you know what your own bridge is.
Yeah. I think that was the fortunate thing when I was gone for 3 months. It was a lot of alone time.
Mm.
And it was a lot of, okay, what do I do with this alone time? And reflecting, and that's like when I got the relationship back, and I realized he really likes spending time. He just does. And
Mhm.
so I realized when I did get back up to North Dakota and was in my place, and it was like, I really have to create that time and space in my new place now that I'm back to work full time in life. And it's like,
Mhm.
that was sacred. That's what saved me essentially. And so, yeah, I know when I'm not doing that, my life, it almost feels directionless, really.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see a boat out at sea just bobbing in the waves, and sometimes
Yeah.
that's nice, but when we know that we have a purpose to live, how wonderful it is to have the support to move forward in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here you are in the middle of a transformation in your own life, and I hear that you would like to work with people through their transformations. So, what is something that you would say to them? Like, if you imagine somebody is just in the middle of something that's moving from one version of themselves to another, what are some of the important things you have a message that you want to speak about?
So for me, what I've learned is, one, you can't bite off more than you can chew. Transformation over time It's like losing weight. You can't lose 20 pounds in a week. Transformation, it takes time. It took us a certain amount of time to get to where we're at. It's going to take a certain amount of time to get to a new version of us. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's okay. And in order to do that, I really believe that three things are the most important. It's discipline, consistency, and grace.
Mm.
There has to be all three. If from what I have discovered working for me, it's just, and in those three things, what we learn is self-love, because the discipline, the consistency, that is how you're training yourself that you're important. In those two things, you have to be able to say no to the things that don't support the transformation. And in doing that, you're telling yourself, wow, I really care about myself. I am important. I do matter. And then that message gets put out, and it's like you get the reinforcement. It's a circular thing.
Mm.
Other people start believing that about you too. And the people that don't, kind of like we were talking about earlier, they're challenged, and maybe they step up or maybe they step out. Either is okay. And then the grace part too, it's we're human. And there will be a day when the discipline's not there and the consistency's not there. And we have to be able to say, that's okay. We're going to get back up tomorrow. We've got it. This is okay. It's a cha-cha. Couple steps forward, step back. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and that is okay. It's how we got to where we're at anyway, because when you look back along the path to where we've gotten, there were mistakes back there too. And look at us, we're still here and we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
So to understand that moving forward, life is still going to be life. We're still going to have obstacles. We're still going to have challenges. It's not going to be perfect. But if you can do your best every day to be consistent and disciplined and have grace, transformation is definitely possible. And then taking it one step at a time, not choosing, 10 things to change all at once. Let's pick two, like say it's simple things like I actually don't drink enough water. I need to drink 8 ounces of water every day. And I should, like in my case, I should probably reinstate my relationship with God. Okay. So we start simple. Every morning, set aside 30 minutes and make sure you drink a glass of water before you get in the shower. It's just simple little things. And then in a couple of weeks, when you feel like you've got it down, okay, what's another thing and then implementing those things. And over time, you become those things and they're just who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just keep switching it up.
Mm-hmm.
Adding something, taking something away, and then over time you're like this transformed person. The thing I love about transformation though, I believe, once you start, you never stop.
Mm.
And I think it's because the actual doing of transforming is so powerful. Like you get to that transformed, quote unquote. I don't think you ever really get there, because I think people fall in love with becoming the best versions of themselves, that it's like, well, there's got to be more, you keep digging, you keep wanting to. And I just think it's an ever ongoing thing.
Mm. Great insights.
Thanks.
And I love feeling your passion too about what you love about transformation.
I do. I just love it.
Yes. And I know what you mean personally, those moments of, oh, this is working, this is transforming, it's in me, it's beyond me, it's happening, it's supported, the universe is here, God, all of it. Okay. And let's go. Let's keep
Yes.
going.
Yes.
And come along.
Yes. I love the balance of it too, because, and once transformation starts becoming evidence of its own possibility, it's like any obstacle becomes less daunting, because the reinforcement is there and the people along the path that you pick up are also there. Mm-hmm. Transformation in the beginning, I think, is scary because it can feel so lonely. But over time, you've got your tribe of people, and it's not as scary and far more exciting. And that's one thing too I like to tell people in the beginning. Fear, really, if you think about it, sometimes fear is just excitement without a smile. Like if you feel fear, take a deep breath in and smile, all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, that kind of feels like excitement now. And it's just kind of like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe I am ready. Maybe I just need to reevaluate what the feeling is. Maybe it isn't fear. Maybe it's excitement and I'm just unsure. It's just, yeah, I just love the whole world of transformation.
I love that. I love
Mm.
that. Fear is excitement without a smile.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Oh, I'm learning from you. I'm learning with you. This is so
Oh,
wonderful.
I'm so glad we got together today. I am so glad. I This has been healing. It's like a
Hmm.
wow. I was like, healing conversation. Okay. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think that sounds good. Now I'm like, this has been fantastic.
Oh, wonderful.
This is awesome.
For me too.
Oh,
I'm so
good.
glad that we get to be here together.
Me too. Me too. You are doing beautiful things. This is good.
Mm.
What I
Thank you.
really love too is this energy, this type of conversation doesn't just stay between us either. It's like the waves on a lake, you know, and it's just it'll spread. And that's what's
That's right.
fun.
It'll reach the
Yeah.
other shore easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And by
Very.
grace.
Yes. Yes. Cannot go without grace.
What more would you like to share today, if anything?
I really think the only thing, I mean, it all really boils down to love. Love is always there. Obviously, I believe in God. People believe in all sorts of other things. And I think usually at the center of all of those things too is love. And just keep trying to access that. And no matter where you're at, right now doesn't have to be what tomorrow looks like. There's always possibility for something different, and it's out there. And just really try to get in touch with your creator, whatever you believe that to be. That knows. He knows that whatever that is knows, and it's filled with love and self-love. Try to find the ways, find the people that can help you with self-love. And at that point, I mean, you'd be unstoppable, really.
I love love.
It's funny, I used to cringe at it, like, oh gosh, stop with the stop. No. And now I'm like, really, it's like if you've got love, if love is at the core in any
Mhm.
situation, good or bad, if we can tap into love, I believe we know how to connect with human beings if we know that there is love there and we can be loving. If we come
Mhm.
from a place of love, we'll receive it and we'll leave people better than if we come from a place without it.
I also really appreciate how you included the self-love. I was just having a conversation earlier today with somebody else, and for me, it's that inclusion of self-love that makes all the other love go all the way around, that it can be a little off balance if the love is only going external. And you must know this because you naturally, organically, for your own reasons, your own understanding included self love. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, self-love, it's something I had to learn. I really did. I had to learn it. And I understand the difference between a selfish self-love, where the world revolves around me type of self-love,
Mhm.
and a no, it's self-love, understanding I matter. I was put
Yes.
here on purpose. I am unique. God, no two people on the face of the earth are the same, which means I'm here on purpose, which means I matter, which means I need to figure out how to allow that belief system within myself. So it was an allowance of agreeing with I do matter. And now I need to show up for myself and do it in loving ways and set boundaries in order to keep growing in that.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Beautifully said.
Oh, thank you.
There are so many pieces I could continue on, but for the sake of time, I hope to pick up some more threads later in some way that works for us.
Yes.
But I'm
Yes. Me
so
too.
happy. Oh, good. I'm so happy we got to have this time, and we get this time right now. We get to be here
Yes.
right now together.
This was a gift, and I thank you so much for it.
Mm, me too, you. I thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any healing moment that you would like to end with in any part of your life or right now in this conversation, something that lights up as a healing moment that means something to you?
I think I can speak to right now. I think the reminder, even for myself, about the importance of self love and not letting go of the boundaries and not letting go of the direction that has been given and making sure they all stick together. It's been a very confirming conversation, really.
Mm.
It's like weight's been lifted. So that feels really good.
Mm.
Yeah. I feel good. There have been no tears. That's like, wow. And if there were, I think they would have been happy ones, you know?
Oh.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
this, yeah, this is good. Very healing.
Thank you so much for listening. It has been a great joy to have your presence here in this podcast. I welcome you to celebrate the joy and wisdom in your life exactly as it is. And I welcome you to feel loved, fully loved, exactly as you are. www.rainelizabeth.org